Okay.
This is a little garden swing that I built kind of just as a little weekend project. I mean, all these things are available on our website. I mean, whatever you wanted to build, I can build them larger, smaller, a single one, a triple one. Essentially, the possibilities are limitless. Whatever you want, I can build it. And as we walk out here, this is the outside garden. Once again, everything is 100% organic. Over here, you've got a little row of potatoes coming up. Each plant on average usually yields about 10 to 20 potatoes. Right here is a little herb garden. You've got some dill, chives, parsley, cilantro, sage. Just some everyday things that we use.
And these also have been growing at about 2 weeks.
Those are about 2 weeks old as seedlings. And
What
then
do
out here we've got a couple of blueberry plants, radishes, asparagus, blackberry, raspberry. You can see my hobby scattered around various cacti.
What do we have over here?
These are blackberries coming in. If you get down close, you can kind of already see. Oh, there's a skink. Just all the biodiversity in an organic garden where no pesticides and herbicides are used. Everything eventually gets its own balance where the insect predators come in and start eating the insects, and everything kind of works itself up the food chain. I mean, obviously there are snakes out here, but they're beneficial as well. No venomous snakes, but they're definitely beneficial. They're part of the ecology.
What do we have over here on?
This is some onions and carrots. Everything has been planted in succession, so I'll get a harvest throughout the season. These are asparagus starting to fern out. I'm going to let them go another year before I start harvesting spears. And this garden's really only been in place for about 2 years now. But I've carried all of my practices and skill from doing hydroponics into soil gardening, and I mean, it's easy. A lot of things transfer right over. The nutrients obviously don't, but just a lot of the different practices of foliar feeding, with good vermicompost teas with good inoculants in it. I mean, it's all beneficial knowledge.
And you said this asparagus also has been growing how long?
Those actually have been in the ground in that spot for 5 years. I could have harvested this year. I've harvested a few spears, but I'd rather let it go another year so it can spread out. You can see some young fronds starting to fern out, which tells me that here's another one coming out of the ground. Here's another one coming out of the ground. I just snapped one off here today and ate that as a little snack. And if you've never had fresh asparagus from your own garden, I'll tell you what, you've never had asparagus.
Okay, let's move on over here. What do we got over here?
Oh, this is just a hodgepodge of different sunflowers, kind of a beneficial insect attractor, pollinator attractor.
And I see that you have your own watering system and whatnot.
Yeah, this is a drip irrigation system.
And this is also something that would be set up, including the package.
Exactly. Everything, all my water is collected. I feed it from a 50-gallon drum through a pump and drip irrigate everything with reverse osmosis water or rainwater. We haven't had any rain this year yet, so I haven't been able to collect any.
And then what do we have here?
These are giant sunflowers in this bed. Last year I had them grow about 12 foot tall and about 12 inches in diameter on the face. And again, the benefits of organic gardening, you can see a little ladybug right there.
Where is that?
Here's another one right here. I mean, and just not using herbicides and pesticides. You get these little guys that come and do their job naturally.
And those are something that you would be breeding and be able to put in their garden as well? Or they just come naturally, basically, by not using pesticides and herbicides?
Exactly. I mean, the bugs know what's poisonous and what's not.
And what do we have over here?
These are all pepper plants. It's about 7 different varieties. Everything was grown from seed.
And why is the hay sprinkled around?
The hay is a mulch. It's a good organic mulch because at the end of the season you can just till that back in, and it puts all the nutrients back into a lot of the nutrients back into the soil. So it just keeps the soil cool, keeps the moisture retained.
And you said that this hay that you got was also picked and whatnot from the fields organically and whatnot?
Exactly, organically grown. And this is a row of beans and then some pole beans that eventually will grow up these poles and trellis all over the fence and give me fresh beans. A row of peas that haven't come up yet. A couple of other little heirloom tomatoes. These are about 2 weeks ago I transplanted those. They were about 2 inches tall. And just the benefits of using all, I mean, you can just see how healthy they look. Everything organic, keeping everything in balance. And essentially this is a technique, a wide row technique. This is really one wide row split into 3 smaller rows to accommodate my plants. Here you've got some watermelon seedlings coming up. All over here, this will be covered with cantaloupe seedlings. Everything will be trellised out all over the place. It's a blueberry bush. You can see the little blueberries coming out all over it.
And everybody's hearing this great sound right here. And what are we about to move on to next over here that basically that you would like to do for other people and set up in their homes? Or set up in their homes or around their homes?
This is just a large water feature that I did. It's a koi pond. It's approximately 2,500 gallons. And I mean, something like this, I mean, we would offer up, we would have to come and, you know, just give you a free estimate, an on-site free consultation, and, you know, kind of see what you're trying to achieve. Something like this out of pocket, just offhand, would probably, I don't know, run you, you know, a few $1,000s, maybe $3,000.
And let's just walk around real quick and let's take a look in there. If you could lead the way. Let's talk about this little waterfall I guess you just put in over here.
This is a disappearing fountain, essentially. And it's just a flower pot, essentially, where water just flows up in there. It also acts as a mild biological filter. There's some aggregate in the bottom of it.
Okay. Let's move on to this waterfall that you basically created over here.
The waterfall, all of the filtering of it is done in a biological filter. Essentially, I made it out of a 55-gallon drum. You know, and people just, you know, they go to places and they see all these prefabricated things that, you know, can be made, you know, for a lot cheaper and do just the same. And it's still early in the season. A little bit of cleaning needs to be done still, but you can see the Louisiana wild iris is starting to bloom. The yellow tips that you see, you know, it gets loaded. I've got water lilies that haven't quite come up yet.
And what about this little deck that you have over here, or a little resting area?
Oh, it's just a little something I threw together. The bench needs to be cleaned up. It's actually Honduran mahogany, and it's really nice. It's just been neglected for a couple of years. And you can see my bougainvillea wintered in the greenhouse, so it's really doing well.
And how long do you think that it would take to set something up?
Well, I mean,
like this?
The initial setup would take approximately,
depending on about this size,
a week to do something, but you have to take into consideration that this pond is well seasoned. It's been here for about 5 years, 6 years, so I mean, everything is well grown in. You can start seeing that, you know, right now all the little elephant ears are starting to pop up around the edges and fill in spots, you know, from dying back in the winter time. So I mean, it will take some time to achieve a look like this, definitely.
but I mean the initial setup though and everything, it would still look beautiful, brand new.
Well, I mean,
with all the depending on what plants and whatnot that you would want to use. And
exactly, it just takes time for your pond to establish itself.
Now we see one little fish over there. What is that?
That's one koi.
So basically, would you be able to get koi and other fish to be able to stock the ponds with? And
Yes, definitely. I mean, I had several $1,000s worth of koi in this pond, and in one afternoon, essentially all of them were eaten by a herring. And I mean, I don't like the look of having netting over my pond. That kind of ruins the view for me. So there's a few bass in here, a few catfish, a few native Texas fish. I mean, it's just as fun. You know, they could be trying to come up and eat from your hands. And, you know, it's a lot harder for the heron to see them, I guess.